Well, welcome back, everyone. As you can see in front of you, we have moved along with the Superman Polar Lights build. As you can see, I'm starting to work on his costume, and the first thing I wanted to do was to go ahead and lay out the blue. I know the paint schematics for the instructions were suggesting a French blue color, which I do know that looked up and saw that Folk Art actually makes a French blue color for this kit. But I decided to go with a little bit darker blue because most of my other Superman figures that I bought over the years has more of a darker blue than the lighter, French blue color. So with that being said, we went ahead and I chose in my paint stock the bright blue Craftsmart satin acrylic paint. I didn't want to go with the gloss. I just want to kind of go with the satin to kind of tone it down a little bit, since it is considered a kind of a costume thing. But this is what I chose for the top coat, and I went ahead and airbrushed that portion of it on. Once that was dried, and I kind of basically again let it set for about 24 hours, I want to come back and do a little bit of some detail work, to bring out his muscle tone and just small little details on his body parts. So what I ended up doing, because I've been using exclusively the Pache airbrush, and I had a number 5 needle on it, but since I'm going to do some detail work, I want to get in there really close. So this time around, I'll bring the gun up here. What I did was I actually switched out the needle from a number 5 to an actual number 3 needle that goes along this line here. And then the adjustment cap, I chose what Pache offers is like it's a number 1 adjustment cap. There's like one single line which designates it as a number 1, like I said, adjusting cap. That basically slides over your number 3 needle, and as well as I changed out this tip right here as well that they recommend as well. So now this is set up for doing some small fine detail work on your figure or whatever you're working on. And of course then I basically once again took my little medicine cup here, and I poured some of the what we now have is the dark blue Craftsmart, again satin, to bring out the dimensions of the figure. So once again I mixed it with some of the windshield wiper washer fluid, and since this was a smaller size needle, I actually thinned it down a little bit more than the 2% consistency, so it would flow pretty easy through the airbrush. So like I said, this is what we have. And once that was done, we went ahead and started painting some of his features, which basically I started with his abdominal muscles, just kind of gave a little bit of a highlight, and as well as like around the deltoid muscles, and underneath where his ribs are coming out, just a little bit of a hint. So and then of course I went down to the thighs and the legs, part of the legs there, and just kind of basically highlighted certain areas, especially like behind the knee itself, one here and one here, and inside his leg, inner thighs. And I don't know if it's getting picked up by the camera, but you can definitely see it here. Just kind of highlight the muscles and kind of make them pop a little bit. So yeah, so like I said, that's kind of like where we're at this stage, because I want to do this like one step at a time. Get that particular area taken care of before I move on to his trunks and his boots. But What I'll probably end up doing is actually brushing on some Future just to seal the paint in. So if I do any masking, I won't have anything, come off of what I've already accomplished so far. As far as the boots and the trunks and the cape is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and, like we used the bright blue for his main costume, for the trunks and boots, I'm going to use a bright red. Again, Craftsmart satin acrylic. So I will use that, and like I said, I will switch back to the number 5 needle on my airbrush, so that when I'm doing the cape and his boots and his trunk, I'm going to go ahead and airbrush that on, because it does have a bigger, wider spray pattern when you're using the number 5. Once I finish up with the bright red, I'll come back with just the plain red from Craftsmart satin acrylic, just to again highlight the details and make it pop a little bit, as far as bringing it out and making it more dimensional. But there you go. I just want to give you a quick little update here that I am moving along, and this is where we're at. And like I said, until next time, we will have another update. So until then, I hope everybody has a good day, and we'll catch you all later. All right, bye.
Just one more thing. I wanted to kind of go over the flesh tones I will be using on Superman for this build. As you recall, we introduced to his costume 3 of the primary colors that he's famous for, which is the bright, well, in this case we used bright red, bright yellow for his belt, and a bright blue. And that being said, many of you may or may not know that you can also use those 3 main colors with a little bit of white to actually produce a nice flesh tone to the skin. And let me kind of briefly show you what I mean. This is our color palette that I've been using. And of course, in each of the little compartments, I poured a little bit of some white, and I got the blue and the yellow and the red. And what basically I did is took a little bit of the white, put it in my center tray here, and then added a little bit of some yellow and some red, and mixed it all together to give it, first of all, it came out kind of like a pinkish color. And just by adding a little bit more of the yellow, red, and then a touch of blue, we just kept mixing it until we got a flesh color that I was happy with. And like I said, just by using those 3 main components and the little bit of white, you can produce that. So I did a little test pattern on one of his hands. I'll kind of bring the light in, so hopefully this will be picked up. But this is kind of just a little test to see how the color would look. Of course, I painted with hand brushed it over the gray primer, so it's looking pretty good there. I may touch it up a little bit, make it a little bit darker, but like I said, this is just the base coat of the flesh tone, just to kind of see how it will look. So I think I'm pretty close on that. With that being said, if I go that route, I can also go another route that I've done in the past by using these materials, which is the Liquitex Basics, by combining the raw sienna with the burnt sienna, and again adding a little bit of the white and mixing that all together and producing another flesh tone for the skin. So like I said, I just kind of want to basically share with you my process as far as going forward with applying the natural skin tones for basically his face and his two hands that are the only thing that are exposed, because the rest of it, of course, is just this costume. Here I figure I show you the second process of using the actual Liquitex Basics acrylic paint, which what I was using is the burnt sienna and the raw sienna, as well as the white, or in this case titanium white, and show you what the difference is between what I showed you originally with just my regular Craftsmart paint versus the Liquitex version. And the results that I came up with here real quick is this is the actual tone. I mixed basically half and half of the burnt sienna and the raw sienna, and then just applied the some of the titanium white until I got a nice value, and I was happy with it. Once that was done, with those initial three colors, I actually went ahead and poured in some of this Liquitex slow dry blending medium, so it doesn't dry up on me as fast. And I also mixed in a little bit of some of the windshield washer to thin it out a little bit, and went ahead and mixed it all up just using a little tongue depressor. And this is the result that I have. Once I was satisfied with it, I went ahead and hand brushed his other hand, and so you can bring it in here so you can, hopefully the camera will pick this up, but this was with the actual Craftsmart, using the blue, yellow, and red with a touch of white. And this is the actual Liquitex Basics that I used for the once again the burnt sienna, the raw sienna, and the titanium white. And you can see quite a bit of a difference there. So I am pleased with this one over this one. I made up a nice little batch for it, so I think I'm going to go ahead and proceed to do the rest of him as far as his face and his other hand. So I just wanted to kind of show you the difference between the two procedures, and I will go with the Liquitex. So stay tuned.